There are only 8 races left in the 6th season of the Gratton Cup Series, and last week we went to the Auto Club Speedway in Fontana, California. We got ourselves a first-time winner in Charlie Davenport, breaking through to take his first win in his 46th career start. And in terms of the championship battle, well, Dawson Miller eked out his advantage just a little bit more, back to 36 points coming into this race here today. We go to the Indianapolis Motor Speedway, one of the most famous racetracks in the world, for 40 laps of action on one of the crown jewel races here in the Gratton Cup Series. This is the Brickyard 400, the 23rd race of Season 6 here in the Gratton Cup Series. Hello everyone and welcome to the Gratton Cup Series, Season number 6, race number 23 here at the famed Indianapolis Motor Speedway, the Brickyard 400, one of the 4 crown jewel events here in the Gratton Cup Series scheduled this season. Of course, the Daytona 500, the Southern 500, which will be later on in a few weeks, and then you've got the Coca-Cola 600 mid-season, and of course this race, a prestigious race on the calendar at the world-famous Indianapolis Motor Speedway, one of the most one of the oldest tracks in the world, and provides a lot of fun racing. And we're really looking forward to this one here today. Of course, we've got a championship battle that's well and truly heating up. We've got, of course, 8 races left to go. And both of the championship contenders, the main champ, all the top 8 in the points, all start inside the top 15 in this race. And so the heavy hitters come to the fore here in this one, as they have historically done. So looking forward to this race. I've got Nathan Stapleton with me, and this is your home race, Nathan. I know you're very excited about this one, and you've got a car on the pole. You've got all 4 cars inside the top 8. They're all in this shot. You guys set up very, very nicely here for a strong day. What you got to do here to win at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway in this Brickyard 400?
Well, first off, thanks for having me here at my home racetrack. And yes, this is a very tricky racetrack. It might be what seems to be a even playing field in every turn on this 2.5 mile speedway, but it's not. Every turn is a little bit different. Every turn acts a little bit different, and you gotta run the race accordingly to that. And especially sometimes off turn 4, you can get a good enough one on the second lane and get a good one entering turn number 1. And the draft is going to be king here. You gotta manage the track position, manage the draft, and you don't want to go 3 wide. 3 wide is a little bit sketchy, but you just gotta have a good car, a good pit crew as well, and make no mistakes. And of course, this is a home race for NS Racing. All 4 cars starting up front. That's nice to see, but the odds of that being the case at the end are slim, because this can be a wild racetrack at times. We've seen some crashes before. We've seen some mechanical issues before. So it's definitely not an easy racetrack to go around here in Indy.
No doubt about that. Of course, one of the most unique tracks, I suppose, on the schedule as well, with the way, obviously, with the long straights, and obviously 4 unique individual corners with a little straight in between, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4, for example. One of the most unique and fun racetracks on the schedule. One of the most high-speed tracks on the schedule. So this one will be a lot of fun. In terms of the championship, we talked about it a little bit in the open, but Dawson Miller and Henrik Ward, they're the 2 contenders in this championship, and interestingly, they've both won this race before. Dawson Miller 36 points up in this championship battle over Henrik Ward. Miller starts 13th today. Henrik Ward starts from 5th. So both drivers in a pretty good position on the inside lane. We'll see how they fare in this one. And of course, still, with 8 races left to go, anything can happen. It's going to take a lot, basically, for anyone other than those 2, of course, to win the championship. Alexander Rose won 5 times this year. He starts on the outside of the front row. He is 77 back in this championship battle. He's 30 points. Noah Clifton, who starts 3rd today, he's 4th in the points, 89 back. Dominic Anthony's tied with him on 89 back. He was involved in the incident last week at Auto Club, and that's put him a long way down in the championship. A real dint in his championship hopes in car 39, but he starts 7th today. And then everyone else is well over 2 races back. Benny Watson's 116 back. Eli Bright's 118 back. Jared Oren is 130 back. Tristan Allen 132 back. Doesn't look like the reigning champion will go back to back, but we'll see what he can do in these last 8 races anyway. And Max Davis back into the top 10 of the points, 136 back. So we'll see how this championship battle looks at the end of today. Of course, 7 races left to go, and it finally ends our long run of speedway tracks that we've had on this calendar. Because I think every race, we've had now 11 races in a row on speedways. We've got Richmond next week, which will be fun. But talk about the top 8 in the championship, all star in the top 15. While the pole sitter is a long way down in the points, 20th in the championship. Travis Crampton won the pole at Michigan. He's got his 2nd pole of the year. He's looking for his 3rd win of the season, and he will lead the field to green today. Alongside him is 5-time winner this year, of course, 3rd in points, Alexander Rowe. Behind them on row 2, Noah Clifton and Jared Oren. Clifton comes into this race 4th in the championship. Jared Oren 8th in the championship. He's the only driver inside the top 12 in the points without a win so far this year, looking to change it today. Henrik Waugh starts from 5th. He's got a really good opportunity in this number 71 to gain some ground on Miller, which he probably has to do today. 36 back. He's alongside Eli Bright, 7th in the championship. Dominic Anthony, the 39, talked about got involved in an incident last week with Jake Rogers. He starts from 7th today alongside Benny Watson in the number 96. 2 wins, of course, this year, or 3 wins, I should say, this year. Alex Sanvitale, another strong qualifying for the 37 and Handgel Motorsports, alongside Thomas Troxel in the 62 for Pacific Racing. They ran out the top 10. Jake Rogers in the number 40 starts from 11th. Of course, he was involved in that incident with Anthony last week. Duncan Ward from 12th in the number 54 for Team Velocistar. And there's our championship leader, Dawson Miller in the 48 for Nicotech. Hasn't won since Martinsville, looking to change that today. He will start from 13th alongside Bryce Egan for Evans Ross Racing. Egan's teammate Ludovic Charette in the 23, now only 18 points outside the top 35. Alex Sanvitale, for the record, only 1 point outside that top 35. So top 35 battle, very important. Charette in a good position here to make some ground in that, alongside Rogel Dawn in the 04. Caleb Rose to start from 17th alongside Matthew Hubert in the 8, and then Logan Williams and Braden Perez round out the top 20. So these cars will fire up, and you will see the starting lineup on the left side of your screen. And so as these cars fire up, a little quick fact about this race, Nathan, before you get to pick, and we talked about it a little bit just before we went live and we started recording. Every single winner of the Brickyard 400 has finished the season inside the top 5 in the championship. So maybe that's we'll see if that kind of trend continues. I guess we'll only find that out in hindsight. But knowing that, who do you think is going to find their way into victory lane here in the Brickyard 400?
Well, this is an interesting racetrack, and I do like that stat that you brought up about the winner of the Brickyard ends up being top 5 in the point standings, and I think that will continue. There's someone not in the top 5 right now, but this could help him maybe get a top 5 at the end of the year. Give me Eli Blight in the number 95 here today. He's been probably the most consistent NS Racing car this season. 7th in points, not too far away from the top 5, so I could see that being the case for Blight. And we gotta see if that car gets the job done, but this is going to be a very competitive field today at one of my favorite racetracks on the
Yeah, for sure. I mean, this is going to be a very fun race, and Bright's had a great year, of course. A win at Pocono, which was also 40 laps, like this race here today. So 40 laps, 100 miles. You'll get a pit stop. You'll get 2 pit stops in this race. It'll come about lap 14, 15 or so, as long as this thing stays green, of course, and there is a high chance of a yellow. Every single Brickyard 400 has had at least 1 caution in it, so something to keep in mind in this race today. And of course, a long lap here in Indianapolis, so we're about ready to go. The pace car pulls off to the left and we'll head down pit road. Here we go. The crown jewel of the Brickyard 400. Leading to the green is Travis Crampton in the 97. And there's the green flag, and we are underway here at Indianapolis in the Brickyard 400. Here we go to complete the first lap of action. Travis Crampton holds the lead, and he will lead the first lap in the number 97 Schneider National Ford, with Crampton up to second. Sorry, Clifton up to second, I should say. Gore in third, Rowe fourth, and Dominic Anthony. So 3 of the 4 Gifford cars currently third, fourth, and fifth. They're all able to get down in line pretty quickly. Rowe was certainly able to get down in line pretty quickly there. And then Sam Vitale is 6th. Jared Oren is 7th. Jake Rogers is in the 8th position. Dawson Miller in 9th. So he's made a bit of ground on the opening lap as well. And then Eli Bright rounds out the top 10. But Crampton out in front. Clifton trying to close, but he's got those 3 Gifford Chevys right on the back, and that won't be helping his cause too much at the moment.
Yeah, absolutely. I was expecting kind of a calm start, and this is the key thing about Indy. You gotta stick in the draft, and you gotta maybe push the guy in front of you to get up to the guy in front of him. And right now, that's what everyone's trying to do with Crampton. And we might see some breakaways here today, and we already maybe starting to see one with the top 5 behind them. But single file throughout the entire top 15 at least. But Alexander maybe making a move, gonna think better of it into turn 3.
He decided to stick in behind everybody. He's been very sedate so far, very calm. The early stages of this race, we're on lap 3. Clifton had a look at the back of the 97, but decided not to make a move. How about Sam Vitale in the 37, currently 6th on the track, and this would certainly launch him inside that top 35 and under points, which is just so critical for him, just to be ensured that, he locks himself into future races. That's, of course, what's important with the top 35, and especially with next year as well, the next season's rules. With the way it looks at the moment, that could be very, very critical on locking your way into future races. So top 9, all within a second, well, 1.2 seconds I should say. Here goes the 13 of Clifton to the inside of Crampton. And Crampton's going to drive around on that outside and will be able to clear the 13. So that was the first sign of Clifton trying to find a way ranked this 97. He got a good run out of turn 4. He's right up on the back here of the 97. Let's see if he can make a move into turn 1. Look how close he is to the rear of Crampton. He's going to stick in behind for now. So relatively calm at the front of the field. Now everybody bunching together. There's Miller right behind. And now Clifton makes a move into turn 2. To the inside of Crampton. And he's going to make his way past. He's got Gore right behind him, Rowe as well, and Crampton might get freight trained here on that outside. He's got no help. There goes Clifton, there goes Gore, Rowe, Anthony. The 97 being gobbled up at the moment, and here we go. Gore on the inside for the lead in the 71.
And welcome to Indy. Once you get stuck on the outside lane, besides sometimes in turn 3, you gotta see if Noah Clifton could get a 1 up top with the 71 to the inside. And Clifton will right behind him. Clifton hanging on for now, and we got really a top 10 breakaway, as I was saying, of having first a top 5 breakaway. Now we have a top 10 breakaway, as 11th is way far back in the back. But Allison Rose had a great year this season. 5 wins, trying to get his 6th win on the season. Only 23 races here today. And he might be able to have a shot Crampton side-by-side with Clifton behind him. That's the first side-by-side battle. And some great racing early on here in the Brickyard 400. And we're not even 10 laps into it.
Well, Clifton was the leader across the line last time, and now he's all the way down to about, well, let's say 7th position. Rowe got a good run out of 4. Gore got a lap led. That is going to be important for him. Get those bonus points when you can. But now it's a battle between the 3 Gifford Chevrolets, and there goes Rowe, there goes Anthony to the inside. Crampton's going to try and get to the inside of the 71, and he does. And he's on the inside here, side by side, but will he get any kind of draft help? The 71 should be able to get a draft off the 39, but no, it doesn't look like it's going to get enough. Crampton's going to stay on that inside, and he should be able to get past the 71 right there. Not quite yet. Side by side through turn 3. Sam Vitale right behind, and Crampton will be able to get past. Sam Vitale in the 37 has to check up in the turn. In turn 4 there, and that might cost him a little bit of time. You mentioned that 11th place car That, at the time, was Logan Williams. He was a long way back. With all this battling, he's been able to close back in. Same with Watson. So they're now right off. Williams is just inside the top 10. Watson just outside the top 10 at the moment. So with all this battling, you know, the field getting spread out a little bit. Or sorry, the field that was spread out getting back together. Williams gets shuffled on the outside by Watson and Bright. You got Sam Adio back in there with Ludovic Charette as well in the 23. But we go back up to the front. Top two have pulled away in this one. Rowe from Anthony, and then Crampton is a bit of a ways back at the moment in the 97 in that battle with Gore. And Gore still doing a good job. He is currently 5 positions ahead of Dawson Miller, so that's a positive for him. But we've got the 96 here as well, trying to work his way forward. And then Rogers, Bright, and Williams, that's that lead group of cars. But right now, there's an 8/10 gap between Anthony and the 97 of Crampton. These two trying to break away from the field.
Right now they are doing a great attempt at breaking away from the field, and right now I think the cars are starting to fall off a little bit, and this is the thing about Indy. If you have a couple of fast cars, they can break away from the rest of the pack, and that's what these two are doing. Of course, they've been strong all season long with a ridiculous amount of 5 wins this season. And then you got the 39 right behind him, who's also been pretty fast. Dominic Anthony up there in the standings. You got 3rd and 5th in points. So these two are some of the stronger cars this season. And Anthony trying to close back in. But you gotta wonder, do these guys want to stay single file, or do they want to get racy and allow the 97 Crampton, Ford, and others to close back in? Because the way the draft works here, if you get side by side, everyone will just close back right in just a couple of laps.
And that's of course that's exactly what happened before, when you know, they started jockeying around for the lead of the race and allowed guys like Williams, who was a fair way back. Watson, for example, was down in the was in the 12th position. It was a long way back. Those guys really closed in. But now they're single file again, and Crampton's recovered quite well, hasn't he? Because he could have easily lost that draft. He was almost a second back. He's recovered. He's closing back in as we got a battle here for 5th. Sam Vitale goes way up out of the groove, and he's going to lose 3 positions, maybe 4 here, because Watson's also going to get down the inside of the 37, and he will. So Sam Vitale is going to drop all the way down to the 9th position with that maneuver. So not what he wants. But still in an ideal position, because with the way Leonard Koshma is running, the 03, that's his the driver he's going up against here in this top 35 battle. Leonard Koshma down in 33rd at the moment, so that'd be more than enough, of course, to lock his way in for at least next week of Richmond. A good position for the 37 to be in. And of course, Airgel Motorsports coming off the high of the win last week. We haven't seen Charlie Davenport in this race. There he is. He's pretty happy with that win last week. Both team and driver going to victory lane at Auto Club in what was a fantastic race. And Davenport led the most laps in that one. So able to hold off Max Davis for the race win there. He is currently in the 18th position, so he started 25th, so he's working his way forward. We've got Troxel back in here, Duncan Ward. There's Matthew Hubert in the 8th as well, the other hair gel car. So, all 3 of them. Well, Hubert just outside the top 20 at the moment. Looks like we've got some movement up here. We had a change for the lead. You would have seen that. Anthony got around Rowe, and Crampton's going to follow through. Gore's going to try and follow through as well. So, again, don't want to be on that outside. It's certain places on the track, and Rowe's going to drop back to 4th. So how quickly things can change in this race. And Dominic Anthony, who won at Kansas earlier in the year, looking to go back to victory lane, make up for what happened last week at Auto Club.
And that is a great way to possibly doing so. And that is exactly what I've been saying. You don't want to get side by side, because that will allow everyone else behind you to close back in. And they went from a 2-car battle to 5, 6, 7, 8 cars here in a train, and this is Indy. I've said that a lot, but this is Indy with these top cars, but you gotta watch out for. I'm really liking that 71 and 51. Alexander Anthony Ward, they've been strong always. Dominic Anthony as well. I'm impressed with Crampton with his up and down season up here in the midst of a lot of top drivers in the series. But we gotta maybe talk about pit stops here soon. We gotta see how that all shakes out. It's kind of a narrow pit lane that could be very sketchy here at the Brickyard. But Dominant Anthony, there's been a lot of battles in second, but Dominant Anthony's doing a great job controlling the field in that Sunday D39.
He's out in front. You got that 8-car breakaway all the way down to Watson. You know, they're all within almost a second of each other. Up at the front of the field. They've dropped San Vitale a bit. Then Bright, Williams. We mentioned pit stops. They'll be coming soon. And then Rogers and then Samadeo and Charette. Samadeo's had a really tough year in the 45. It's not been the year he's been hoping for. He comes into this race 34th in the points. But he's doing a very nice job here at the moment. We've got another battle. Clifton on the inside of Rowe. And that's 4th. So Clifton gets back up there. How about Jared Oren? I talked about it. He hasn't won a race this year. He was very close at Nashville. 8th in the championship coming in, and he's the only driver top 12 in the points without a win this season. But his form, second half of the year, has been very, very impressive. And how about Miller in the 48? So Gore in 3rd. Miller's just got up to 6th. So the 48's trying to do all he can to go back-to-back in this race. He was the winner last season, season 5. Got Watson up here as well, and then obviously all these guys back down there. And then they've kind of broken away as well. You've got Egan in 15th, Steinbach 16th. And then you've got 2 of the Pacific cars here, and Rose and Troxel, they're battling for position. Hubert, Dawn, and then Davenport's actually dropped back outside the top 20 there. How about the 2 Veloso cars? Good to see Tyler Jericho make the race this week. Failed to make it last week. As everybody's running it long. This is an interesting one. This is not something we saw in the testing. They typically came down about lap 14 or so. They're running it long as Gore gets to the inside of Crampton, the battle for second. And he should be able to make this one stick. So Gifford Technologies Incorporated 1 and 2. Crampton's going to battle here with Clifton for 3rd, but he should be able to clear.
And right now, I am very curious on how pit stops are going to shake out, especially with teammates 1 and 2 now. And I don't know. Normally I would say undercut or overcut, but you almost want to not. I definitely do not want to be alone, as that is very sketchy. And well, there it is being a pit stops 1, 2, 3 on the racetrack on pit lane, and the first round of pit stops, and this is going to be interesting because you don't really want to be all by yourself. You want at least a sniff of a draft at same pit lane with the long straight race. But let's see how the first round of pit stops go with the first group of race cars.
So 7 of the top 9 came in. Only Clifton and Rose stayed out. So see Gore there in the 71. So interesting split strategy. We'll see plays out. It's not the highest tyre wear track, it should be said, Indianapolis. There's a bit of tyre wear, but not significant. Certainly in comparison to some of the other tracks on the calendar. You'd imagine Clifton and Rowe will pit right here this time by, and there they go. And Clifton will lead them down. Bright, Williams, Rogers, Charette, Samadeo all will come in. So you see these guys are done. Everyone will take 4. And good stop for the Gifford cars. 39 of Anthony gets out ahead of Gore. And then a bit of a gap back to Crampton, who as he was leaving his pit stop actually held up Oren, held up Miller and Watson. And then San Vitale. It looks like Royal Dawn had a good stop there. The 04's made a bit of ground on the track. Or maybe San Vitale had a slow stop because he's a little bit closer. We'll see where the others come out. There's Clifton, that black and green number 13. We'll take 4. There's Alexander Rowe, that black 51. He's also going to take the 4. So we'll see where they come out relative. There's the 13. He's done. Roberto Crown, by the way, is the race leader in the 43. They've stayed out, I think. And you see Clifton's done. He gets a good stop. That was a good stop. He made a lot of ground there on the 51. But, of course, the long rejoin. You have to rejoin on the back. So we'll see where they come out relative to the 39 of Anthony. There he is. You see him there in the distance. There he is. And I think he'll be able to get past the 13 right here. But Clifton's going to be okay. He won't be in the lead of the race, but he should come out ahead of Crampton. It'll be pretty tight right there. And now you can see they've really started to spread out. So Anthony, effectively the race leader. Gore second. Clifton will come back out into third, but we'll have to deal with Crampton and Oren, who's right there. Miller is effectively 6th. Watson 7th. Rowe 8th. San Vitale and Rogaldor now inside the top 10 for PRM. That's a good performance. That's a great stop by the 10 because he was running. Oh, we got a caution on the back. Bryce Egan. has been turned around on the back straightaway. Something probably related to a merge, I would imagine. And let's see. That's an interesting time for a yellow. Now there's Roberto Crown. Crown and Parrish had run it very long. It shouldn't have any impact on who is where. They might benefit from this in terms of how much ground they gain, but well, everybody was spread out, so now they're all back together, and you can see it's probably a merge-related incident there. Unfortunately for Bryce Egan and Evans Ross Racing, that number 18, looks like they're the only one with significant damage. So you see the 39. Let's see here as to who's where and what. There's Crown, by the way, the 43. And looks like I made a bit of ground on that. Let's see. I think, will they all pit now? Oh, not everybody. Crampton's going to stay out here, perhaps. So a bit of strategy in this one. Ah, no, got Gore and Anthony staying out. Clifton's coming in. So a variety of strategy. So Clifton wants the extra fuel, I imagine. Same with Watson there, the 96, Alexander Rowe, Royal Dawn. Who else is on? Logan Williams, Eli Bright, Nicholas Samadio, and a few others. So interesting strategy here in this one. We'll see if it's just fuel only here for the 13. Could well be. Will they take tyres? No, they're going to take tyres as well. Right sides go up. We'll see. That's just right sides. Oh, be careful there. Brent Perez coming up of his stall. 96 is going for 4. So, variety of strategy in this one. Some taking 2, some taking 4. So they will go to the back of the field. Everyone down to Alejandro Cruz stayed out. So we'll see what kind of impact that has here on this race. The race leader is Don again, 39. Let's take a look what happened to trigger the yellow. So this is a very unusual incident. We don't see something like this particularly often. Bryce Egan's actually gone into the grass coming out of pit road. That's held him up a bit. Caleb Rose tries to get alongside. Egan comes up on him. And very lucky actually not to collect Christian Vargas in that. The 36 trying to get past on the outside and did. But as Egan comes up, Rose is there and there's contact and they go... Well, the 18 goes spinning around down the back and that triggers the yellow. And that's a big moment in this race because it completely alters the way things were going. Because, Dominic Anthony here in this 39, he looked pretty solid. Got out ahead of everybody, pretty spread out gap, and now everybody accordion's back together. And, Noah Clifton here in the 13 now with a pit stop. And some of these guys will go to the back of the field. So it's interesting because everyone will have to pit again. Although, maybe not. Clifton might be able to make it to the end. We'll see. Find that out. But very unusual incident, but a tough break for Bryce Egan.
Alright, full speed here and very unique incident here down the backstretch at Indy. And this is what happens when, I guess, it's a cluster down the backstretch. And unfortunately for Bryce Egan there, getting tapped by Caleb Rose in the 32. Slides in the grass, and that is going to bring out our first caution in the Brickyard 400, and this is going to change everything here going into the second half of this race. And we're going to see what ends up happening. Tough break for Bryce Egan in the number 18.
Yeah, as I said, completely changes how this race will play out, I'd imagine. So that was actually a pretty hard hit he had on that outside as well, so he might be well off the pace here on this restart. But Dominic Anthony's the race leader. Let's take you back to the green. Lights are out on the pace car. We'll be going back to green with 18 laps to go. Given how long they ran in that first run, we're going to potentially see a fuel mileage situation here because the caution came out right at an awkward time in this race. And so the field now have a lot of these guys here at the back. They all pitted under the yellow. All the way from Clifton on down, they all pitted under the yellow. And they may be able to make it on fuel. These two guys here, Will Parrish and Roberto Crown, unfortunately had to come back down. They got kind of caught out with the yellow, and so they're at the back of the field now. but they've decided to go for fuel as well. So, Dominic Anthony's the race leader. Henrik Waugh is second. Travis Crampton's third. Jared Oren is fourth. Dawson Miller is now inside the top 5 in the 48. Alex Sanfatale is sixth. Ludovic Charette is seventh. So there's top 35 implications with those two running 6th and 7th. Tyler Jericho is now inside the top 10. That's an impressive run right there. He is 8th. Jake Rogers 9th. And Anderson Steinbach is in 10th. And those drivers came in. Noah Clifton is 24th. So the top 23 drivers here in this race all stayed out. Uh-oh.
Oh, no.
Henrik Waugh's going to pit. Is there a problem on the 71? An oil leak on the 71!
Wow.
Second in points, Henrik Waugh. That could be a disaster for his championship. He's on pit road as we come back to the green. So the 71 in a lot of strife. With the green flags back out, Dominic Anthony now the leader. That is a huge break for Miller, who is now up to 4th, with his main championship contender out of this race. Well, not out of this race, but on pit road. So Anthony leads. Oren takes the second position away from the 97 of Crampton. Here comes Miller here in the 48 to the inside as well.
That is absolutely huge for the potential championship. But we got a race on our hands, and it could be a few miles. It's going to be fairly, really close because the 2011 situation all over again here. And that's assuming we don't have another caution, and we just might if Billy does that to the 48. But what a race so far, and this caution really has changed everything because we got some new players up here. We got the 23, 63, 40, 98 that we've not seen all day inside the top 10. The great stuff as there goes Henry Gore out on the access road. It's going to keep on going, but it's going to be lapped down with that oil leak issue, and this is going to be a very interesting story if these guys can make it on fuel. If this stays going, it might be tight.
It's pretty tight at the moment. That's a tough break for Gore. So he's now a lap down in the 71 at the back of the field. So that's a devastating blow for his championship aspirations. With Miller in 4th. It might be what puts him in a very strong position if he can finish there, but he may not be able to go the distance where some others might. Top 2 are broken away. Jared Oren got a great restart. He jumped past Travis Crampton pretty quickly, and he is all over the back of the 39, all over him like a cheap suit at the moment. Can't find a way around off into turn 1. And Crampton 3rd, Miller. How about San Fatale? How about Addison Steinbach here at the 98? He's clawed his way now up to 6th. Matthew Hubert was outside the top 20 earlier on. He's now up into the 7th position. Ludovic Charette. Mentioned Tyler Jericho. What a run for Jericho. Only his 2nd Cup Series start. In only his 3rd attempt, he's currently top 10 at the moment in the 63. A 63 team that's really struggled this year. He is vulnerable though because here comes Rogers. You got Vargas there. You got the 21 of Colin Denton, Jack Haas, all amongst this group right here. We haven't seen either of these guys. Tristan Allen or Brandon Bent, former winners of this race. They're trying to work their way forward as well. And then you've got Clifton and you've got Rowe, the guys that pitted under that last caution. An interesting thing, Clifton took 2 tyres. Same with Rowe Williams here, for example. Benny Watson took 4 under the last yellow. Keep an eye on the 96 as this race goes along. But back up towards the front of the field. Anthony started now to just eke a bit of a gap out on this number 99. You know, Oren was all over it, couldn't find a way around. He's of course still right in the draft of this 39, won't be able to make a move into turn 3. And Crampton, Miller, San Vitale, and then a bit of a gap back to Hubert, now up to 6th.
And right now we gotta see what anyone can do here, man. We gotta see what these Dennis racing cars can do. With the 99 up here, 97, 2nd and 3rd, and then we gotta see if anyone can beat Dominic Anthony. Even though we've had a caution, even though there might be a few miles looming on these guys here, it's been one guy that's been dominant, and that's Dominic Anthony here today, and he needs it with the point situation. 5th in points. Of course, 2nd in points, having a tough break there. That could open up really 2nd, 3rd for Dominic Anthony, but he needs to somehow try and save enough fuel. The bad thing for Dominic Anthony is that even though he has such a great race car, he is out front. two nice racing cars and everyone on bat, they can use the draft to maybe save a little bit. So even though Dominic Anthony has a fast car, he's not really able to save enough fuel if he needs to save.
Yeah, definitely. It's one thing, to be leading this group of cars, to be punching a hole in the air for guys like Oren and Crampton and Miller, who's now, started to break away from San Vitale a bit, 37. These guys, have got the draft, as you mentioned, to, that he can suck right up to the back of the 39 and, maybe save a bit of fuel that they may be able to use later on in this race. But Jared Oren says, you know what, I don't want to worry about fuel. I want to go for the lead right here at the 99 to the inside of Anthony, side by side through 3. Little short shoot here to the inside of the 39, and so it's not quite. Didn't get a good run out in the inside of 4. Anthony's on the outside. Side by side down the front, coming to 12 laps to go. Anthony should clear for position, and he does. And look out for Crampton. Crampton's going to try and pounce down to the inside of the 97, and he's going to send Oren all the way back. And Dawson Miller is up to 3rd now in the 48, looking to go back-to-back in this race and really make a statement here in this championship. And now looking at the back of Crampton's 97, you got Oren slotting back into 4th, ahead of San Vitale, who's closed back in, and then Hubert, Charette, Rogers, Colin Denton now inside the top 10. In the 21. What a run for him. Jack Haas here in the 00 having a very nice run because he's about to crack the top 10 as well. But right now, Dominic Anthony was able to hold off the 99 and he's back out in front, coming to 11 to go this time.
What a race this has been from second on back. And like you mentioned, there are some new players within the top 10 that could maybe get a good result, like Jack Haas, like Denton back there. And this has been a fun race, and this is Indy. Sometimes you get someone that can dominate, but it's not been easy. It's had challenges, and this is interesting for the championship part of it. With Dawson Miller up here, with Alexander was up here, with Dominic Anthony, and here we go side by side with the 99 and 48. And he's gonna get the how about San Vitale and that 37 machine here today. Great one from the number 37. Of course, that team with Davenport won last week at Auto Club, and now San Vitale is having a great one here today.
And Hubert right behind as well. His the other Hedgehog car is working his way forward. Look at San Vitale going to the inside of the 99 of Oren. So he's going to the 3rd position. How about this for the 37? His best finish this year was at Nashville, where he finished inside the top 5 that day. It was a very good run for him, with Hubert now right up there as well in the 8. So the Hedgehog cars working their way forward. How about Ludovic Charette here in the 23? Another one of these drivers outside that top 35 in honor points would love a result like this here today. You've got the 40 of Rogers right there behind as well. And then you've got Denton, Steinbach, Haas, Allen and Bent. That's the main group of cars at the moment. Hubert gets clear of Oren, and Miller got shuffled out in all that as well. So, with 71's all the way down, a lap down at the moment. That's a bad break for Gore, of course. Being a lap down in this race. He's trying to make some ground now, but of course, being a lap down, he's not making any positions on the track. So, at the moment, 42nd for the second place points man. That's going to hurt him if results stay as is. So for Dawson Miller, doesn't have to worry about... Oren's got a problem! 99's got a real problem. He's got a tyre that's gone down, and that's held everybody up, including Dawson Miller. Oh my goodness, and Miller's going to drop way back, and this could be ugly here. They all got around the 99. Oh, there it is. Oh, and a big crash. It was involved. Smith and Lewis and Oren upside down. Rose, Cruz, and others. That was ugly right there. That was a matter of time, unfortunately. And look at all the cars. Rose gets taken out. Cruz and Henry Gore, who guaranteed now will finish last in this race. And what a shame for Jared Oren in the 99. Caution is out. We're going to have a restart with less than 5 laps to go in this race. And, well, if you're worried you can't make it, now you probably can. If, whether or not these guys pit, we'll see. Anthony's the race leader. He's been the leader all day. Dawson Miller, even though Gore out of the race now, Dawson Miller lost a bucket load of ground. There he is. At the moment, across the line, he was 22nd. So, that's a bad break for the 48. So, both of the major contenders in strife. And, if you're Dominic Anthony, I mean, you're 5th in points. You lost all those points, 25 of them, at Auto Club to Dawson Miller. He might get all those back because at the moment he's leading this race, and we'll see if these guys have to pit. So Anthony, Crampton, Sam Vitale, Charette, and Hubert. You have 4 rookies inside the top 5 currently, just quietly. And then Rogers, Vargas, Denton, Steinbach, and Haas, and they're going to pit. They're going to pit. So, Nathan, what's the strategy? Do you go fuel only? Do you take tyres?
Oh my goodness, this is interesting.
Oh, Eli Bright's staying out. Those guys that pitted before are staying out. So Bright, the 95.
I'm glad I'm not a crew chief steward, because I don't know what I would do here. Because obviously some are staying out, majority are pitting. But if we're pitting, what do you do? Do you do fuel only? Do you take 2 tires? Do you take 4 tires? Because it's only going to be 4, maybe 5 laps to go in the Brickyard for this. Just shook up everything, and this is where it is on the crew chiefs and pit crews.
The contact between Crampton as Anthony was trying to get into his stall. The 97 ran to the back, so they're all taking tyres. That's interesting. They're all taking tyres. Anthony's done. Good stop for the 39. He's going to get out ahead of Crampton. Sam Vitale with a slow stop.
Oh no!
Oh, 37 is plummeting down the order. And he lost a heap of ground on that pit cycle. What a shame for the 37. He was 3rd at the time. And now he's way down the order. So we certainly know Anthony, Crampton and company, they can make it to the end. What about these guys? Bright, Williams, Koshma, Davenport looking for 2 in a row. Troxel, Samadio, Lee, Crown and Parrish. So that's about, 8 cars or so that have decided to play the long game. Oh boy. Caution's out. Let's take a look what happened to Trigger the Yellow. So Jared Oren running at this moment in time in the 6th position is going to have a tyre go down right here. And this is a severe tyre failure. It was a damage 2, and that's the highest severity in terms of a tyre failure. So the 99, there it goes right there out of turn 1. And you're going to see, I mean, it's really going to hold up a lot of these guys. So Denton, Steinbach, Haas, Allen and Bent, they all get held up a little bit. Dawson Miller gets really held up here because he's right behind the 48. You're seeing Vargas getting down to the inside. And I'm amazed actually nobody got involved right there. You see Hamill getting past the 44. And then, unfortunately, you're going to see Nathan Smith back here, the 25. He's on the outside of Will Parrish going into turn 2. And then he's way up top. He's trying to avoid it. And he's just going to, right there, runs into the 99, tears the whole left front out of it, and then Oren gets just walloped by Ethan Lewis, who was trying to get past it. Lewis goes over. Henrik Waugh has nowhere to go. Ends his day. Caleb Rose gets involved, and you see the 69 and the 99 both tumbling down the back. And then Alejandro Cruz here in the 46, who actually made the race this week, unfortunately, runs straight into Caleb Rose, and that finishes him off. 2 of the Monkey Racing cars involved, and 2 of the heavy hitters. The 99 of Oren and the 71 of particularly Henrik Waugh, who was already last, it should be said, but still will officially only get... Well, he get 2 points because he led a lap in this race, but still, you see the 99, the 69 tumbling, and both cars will end up on their lids. And that was a huge accident out of turn 2, down the back, and triggers the second caution at... a very interesting time in this race, there's no doubt about it. Let's take a look at a real-time replay.
Well, very unfortunate break for one of my hometown driver team combinations. And unfortunately, the tire goes kaboom right there, right in the middle of turn 1 and 2. And with the 99 running in 5th place, this was not going to end well eventually. And he just couldn't get down to the inside lane with the entire field, and then the car that creates chaos is going to be the 25 of Nathan Smith, and then a huge hit from Ethan Lewis. 2 cars upside down wildly, and both Ethan Lewis and Alon will be upside down. Henry Gore is destroyed, Caleb Rose is destroyed. A major pileup off of turn number 2 at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway, and for Henry Gore, this is really going to hurt his championship hopes. He is all the way lap down, and now he has a destroyed race car in that number 71.
What a shame for all those cars involved, but especially Gore. And Jared Oren, who was running, as you said, inside the top 6 at the time. He was 6th position, there he is, and that's a shame for him. And now, this gets interesting, because everybody up here pits. They could go to the end. Eli Bright in the 95 back in here, who, granted, was your pick to win. He's now the leader. And he's going to maybe try and stretch it all the way to the end. So we'll see. We're restarting with a handful of laps to go here in the Brickyard 400. Let's take you back to the green. We're restarting with 4 to go. The lights are out on the pace car. Now Duncan Ward has blown up under the yellow. His day is done. He is officially out of this race. And seriously, anytime something happens in the championship, it's like Gore and Miller. They're like tied together at the hip almost. Miller had a terrible stop, and he's now in 35th. So he'd still be gaining on Gore, and that would almost be a race margin. But, well, it gets interesting because the top 9 drivers on this racetrack, we don't know if they can go to the end. Eli Bright, Logan Williams, Leonard Koshma, Charlie Davenport, Thomas Troxell, Nicholas Samedeo, Kelly Lee, Roberto Crown, Will Parrish. They are the 9 that have decided they're going to go all the way. And they may not be able to make it to the end. We'll find out. We know that everybody else can. So Dominic Anthony, he's 10th. He's been the dominant force all day. The fastest car right now. He is the first of those guys that we know can go to the end. Then Crampton, Hubert, Charette. How about Colin Denton in the 21? He could get a top 5 out of this if these guys have to pit. So it's all going on. In terms of the guys out, so Gore is last. We knew that already. Ethan Lewis, he had an oil leak. That's ironic. Ethan Lewis, Nathan Smith, Jared Oren, and Caleb Rose all out. And of course Duncan Ward with the gearbox that just happened under the yellow. So we have 4 laps to go. This may be the most chaotic finish of the season. This could get crazy. This could get crazier than Pocono. And Pocono was crazy. And of course, guess who won that race? The man who's leading at the moment, Eli Bright in the 95. He'll lead us back to the green flag, and we're back underway here in the Brickyard 400. A great restart for the 95. Jumps out ahead, and look at them. They're all going to fan out. Davenport on the inside in the 52. He's up to 3rd. He wants back-to-back wins. He's got a chance. You never know. And keep an eye on these guys. So Anthony, Crampton, all these guys. The other thing about these guys is that they all took right side tyres under the last pit stop. So we'll see if they can work their way through it. As crowd gets shuffled back. And how about Logan Williams here in the 33 to the inside for the lead underneath of Eli Bright, but he can't quite hold on the inside. Bright's going to get clear. How about Davenport with a run? He set it in hard. Couldn't get underneath the 33. We're coming to 3 laps to go, and they're all still staying out. So Eli Bright looking to get his 2nd win of the season.
This is very intense moments here. This is a long racetrack, 2.5 miles, still 3 laps to go. It's going to be tight if they can make it. They went long on that first stop, but these guys that stay out are trying to make it at 1 stop and not 2. But like you said, Crampton and the dominant driver of the day, Dominic Anthony, are on 2 fresh tires, but they cannot get around these guys that easily right now. So this might end up working if the top 9 can make it on fuel.
Yeah, absolutely. How about the opportunity for Logan Williams here in the 33? Oh, it jinxed him.
Oh, no.
It jinxed him. He couldn't go the distance. He's in. Koshma is in. Kelly Lee is in. So, now the attention shifts back to the 95, the 52. Samedeo, Troxell, Parrish, they're the ones that have not pitted. This could be for the win right here. Crampton trying to get to the inside of Anthony. You got Charette up there in the 23. It's all going on. Bright has got a bit of a gap here on Davenport. Can he coast all the way back to the start-finish line and win this race? We'll find out as Anthony gets shuffled back. Crampton is the first now of those drivers that did pit under the last yellow. It's right behind Nicholas Samedeo. You got Parrish right there as well. We're coming to the white flag this time, Nathan.
Here, you gotta assume that Bright and Davenport are gonna pit. You gotta assume, but Bright's not. Bright is sitting out.
Oh, Davenport couldn't.
Davenport can't.
Here we go. White flag. White flag in the air. Your pick, it may come true, Nathan. The 95 of Bright takes the white flag. Will Parrish is second. Thomas Troxell is third. Samadeo, how about Charette in the 23 into the top 5? Anthony up here. It's all going on. Bright runs it wide, but he could coast. He could coast from here. He's got a huge gap back to Parrish and Troxell and all these guys behind. So Bright, who won at Pocono, he came down the pit road that day on that last caution to win the race. He was able to get around Matthew Huber. They're all battling behind. And Eli Bright in the number 95 is going to round turn 4 and he could coast. He could coast from here. Eli Bright, NS Racing are going to go to victory lane for the second time this year. Eli Bright is going to win the Brickyard 400 at Indianapolis.
Wow. Wow, wow, wow. I said it. It could be few miles. And it was for some. I'm stunned that Eli was able to stretch it. Because almost everyone behind him had to pit. Downpour had to pit entering the white flag lap. But somehow...
He's out. He's out of fuel.
He might be out now.
He's out. He's run out of fuel now.
I think he had half a lap to the good. He's safe enough under caution. He was half a lap to the good. And he can just coast it to the pit lane. But that's crazy. I was not expecting them to make it, Stuart. But Eli Bright gets the job done. I thought the battle with Ludovic and Crampton and Anthony, I thought that was going to be the battle. But it wasn't. And Bright was able to coast. And he gets the win in the Brickyard 400.
What a race. What a finish. You see the results on your screen. Eli Bright, the winner. Will Parrish. How about Will Parrish in second? His best finish was 11th coming into this race. He ends up second. What a drive from him. Troxell third. That's his best finish. Samadeo gets his best career finish. And then Dominic Anthony ended up fifth. So the dominant car of the day, he ends up fifth. He will gain some championship points, though critical championship points. Ludovic Charette sixth with a very important run. Vargas, Hubert, Denton, and Travis Crampton dropped back to 10th after he got overtaken late in the race. So that was crazy. I'm still getting my breath. I can't believe it. You see the full results. You can't believe it. So in the end, it was a very weird race. The results are all very jumbled up. You can see them there. So Watson and Rowe, they end up 16th and 17th. At the end, Clifton ended up 21st. Dawson Miller recovered to 25th. So he, obviously a few of those guys pitted there at the end. He ended up 25th. That lead, off the top of my head, will be over a race heading into Richmond. So that's a big break for the 48s, of course. And you look throughout the field, of course, a lot of guys, lots of tales of woe. So Davenport, Logan Williams was second. He ran out of fuel. Then Davenport ran out of fuel from second. They had to pit, same with Lee, Koshmer, and Cruz. And then Ward, Rose, Oren, Smith, and then Ethan Lewis. And most notably, of course, Henry Gore had the oil leak issue coming back to the green at that first restart. And then he ends up involved in that crash. And he ends up plumb last. And he is going to be more than a race back now of Dawson Miller. That is a terrible break for the 71, but it's a 25th. It's probably the best 25th Dawson Miller's ever had because he ends up making a lot of ground here in this championship. Here are the championship standings after 23 races, and for the first time all year, Dawson Miller has over a race points worth of a lead over Henry Gore. 52 now. Up on the 71. So even though Henry Gore finished last, that could have been so much worse for him. 52 back, but he's got a lot of work to do if he wants to win this championship. Dominic Anthony now, with that run, is back up to third in points. Alexander Rowe is fourth in the championship. Noah Clifton, fifth in the points. So now Eli Bright with that win, back within 2 races of the 48. So you never know, crazy things have happened, but you see the full championship standings, and we've set ourselves up for a very interesting final 7 races, but it's going to take a lot to catch Dawson Miller, isn't it?
Oh yeah, it's going to take a lot. He's been one of the best drivers this season, and really everyone inside the top 4 have been some of the best. And of course, we still have 7 races to go, and if they are anything like what we just saw here today, that 52-point lead can go away really, really quickly. But just what a race and what a crazy last couple of races it has been here. And it's going to be interesting. Dawson Miller looks like he's in the catbird seat, but if something happens to solely Dawson Miller and then roll Anthony, Roll, Clifton, Blight, Watson even, maybe even Allen, if something happens to Dawson Miller, then everyone's going to close back in again. So we got to see how it all goes down. It's not over quite yet, but for Dawson Miller, it's looking a little bit better with a 52.8.
Definitely, he is in the catbird seat with that margin now. And what a race that was. We've had a crazy few races here in the Cup Series, and well, we go to a short track next week because, you know, we'll just amplify the craziness, let's just say that. Richmond next week, the Sirius XM 400, the 24th race of the season. We're looking forward to that one. Congratulations to Eli Bryant on his second win of the season, and we'll see everybody next week at Richmond.